The Dodgers have revealed their roster for the 2024 NLCS versus the Mets. We've got surprise ads, some surprise drops. We're going to break it all down. We're going to preview this Mets series. I'm going to throw out my prediction for this series. We got so much more in a jam-packed episode of Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam!
It's a double for Freddie.
Monkey magic!
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020!
Pink blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to a special Sunday afternoon edition of Dodgers Dugout Live as we get you set for the Dodgers versus the No, we already beat the Padres. The Padres are in Cancun at this point. The Dodgers and Mets NLCS Game 1 tonight at Chavez Ravine. It feels like the champagne isn't even dry yet. It feels like we're still celebrating that NLDS win, but just like that, hey, the show goes on, and you got Dodgers Mets at the Ravine. You got Jack Flaherty on the bump tonight, and it's going to be special. It's going to be special coming off that win, going up against his Mets team, and you got Jack Flaherty going up against Kodai Senga, 5:15 at the Ravine, and we're going to throw out some predictions, some X factors. We're going to preview the whole series. We're going to break down the roster, so settle in. I know you're watching football. I know you're checking your fantasy football, but hey, now baseball is taking center stage. We got Brian Diaz, D-Mac. Let's get the dub. By the way, my name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. If you haven't yet, be sure to definitely follow me on X, TikTok, and Instagram. Doing a lot of stuff over there, talking baseball, doing some giveaways, doing all kinds of stuff. So if you haven't followed me yet, definitely go follow me over there for the latest Dodgers news and rumors, all things Dodger baseball, 24/7, 365. Follow Dodgers Nation on all their social media accounts. I'm sure you already do that. And also subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel in the game. 3 million views per month. Definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel, if you're going to help us out, want to see more giveaways, want to see more content, hit that like button. Definitely do that. Really, really appreciate it. We just hit 100,000 subscribers, and it's all thanks to you guys. Also, a reminder that today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Take a swing at Pick'em this season. On Underdog, over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. I personally had a great time on Underdog so far this year, and it's really simple, and you just take a look at the stats and projections for all my favorite players. This week, I took higher than 230.5 passing yards on Kyler Murray and higher than 71.5 rushing yards on Bijan Robinson. Underdog is super easy to play, and it's even easier to get started. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DNP, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick'em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code DNP to claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick and your deposit offer. So head over to Underdog Fantasy, a lot of fun. But just a few minutes ago, the roster for the NLCS was revealed, and we're going to break it all down. So we got this roster right here. You take a look at it, 26-man roster. You got depth, you got pitching, but we got the big takeaway. So let's start this thing off with the pitchers. So you look at this roster, and one of the decisions they were going to have to make was what were they going to do with Alex Vesia? Because Alex Vesia, he injured his intercostal muscle on his right side while he was warming up during the second time he was going to appear there in Game 5. And unfortunately, yesterday, Dave Roberts told us that it was highly unlikely that he was going to be able to pitch in the NLCS. So eventually they did make the move, and Brent Honeywell is now on the roster. So Brent Honeywell, the right-handed reliever, is on the Dodgers roster, replacing Alex Vesia. So Brent Honeywell has stayed warm. Brent Honeywell has continued to pitch. He faced live hitters. He's been throwing batting practice. He's been going out there throwing bullpens. They have kept him warm this entire process in the event that they were going to need to replace anyone on this roster, whether because of injury, whether because of lack of effectiveness. Honeywell certainly was in prime position to be the next man up. Now, you can't replace an Alex Vesia. Let's just be honest. Alex Vesia was absolutely electric. Alex Vesia has really silenced a lot of his critics, right? Someone who is the living, breathing, if Red Bull was a person, it would be Alex Vesia. If Monster Energy Drink was a person, it would be Alex Vesia, and he's continued to pitch well all season long. He's been their most dependable and most lights-out left-handed reliever. In the NLCS, he pitched 3 innings, didn't give a run, gave just 1 hit, had a walk, had a whip at 6.67, but a 0.000 ERA. On the year, Alex Vesia was outstanding. He posted a 1.69 ERA in 70 games, had 91 punch-outs and 69 in the third innings. Nice. And also, he led the team in appearances this season. He was a workhorse all season long, so hopefully they can get him back in the World Series. They got some business to take care of, but hopefully they can do just that. So a couple of things to consider when you look at Brent Honeywell. So yes, Brent Honeywell is not a lefty. And right now, you only have one lefty for you to use out of the pen in the form of Anthony Bonda. Now, a couple things there. One, the Dodgers trust their high leverage relievers versus left and right. Versus lefties and righties, they've been effective. And or even guys like Ryan Brazier, who historically they haven't been great against lefties. Since he's joined the Dodgers, he's implemented that cutter. He's better against lefties. Blake Trion's better against lefties since he's been with the Dodgers. They have guys that can get out lefties. That isn't the issue. And you look at Brent Honeywell. If you call upon him in a situation, he's certainly a guy that you can go to in a big spot. Brent Honeywell against lefties this season, they're hitting 197 against him. Righties hitting 282. Lefties, a 587 OPS, righties, 756. And the plate appearances are almost identical. 78 plate appearances from righties, 71 plate appearances against lefties. So very, very similar, and he has reverse splits. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you have that curve, that split, that screwball he uses. And the screwball is an interesting pitch. Of course, Fernando Valenzuela kind of made it very famous. And what it does is it breaks in the opposite direction of a curveball or a slider. So from that standpoint, you do have that benefit as a righty throwing that pitch, going the opposite direction. It can break inward against a left-handed hitter and bury it against them as well. So fear the turtleneck, need not to fear. Brent Honeywell is here. So as far as the pitchers go as a whole, 4 starting pitchers for the Dodgers in this one: Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Jack Flaherty, Walker Buehler, and Landon Knack. Now, all right-handed starters, and the way this series could go, Dave indicated that we could probably see Yoshinobu Yamamoto just one time during this series. Just one time during this series is how we could see a Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Tonight, you have Jack Flaherty. And Jack Flaherty kind of gave you his C+, B- game on Sunday, a week behind us against the Padres. Of course, the best moment was there where he struck out Manny Machado and told him to sit the F down, showed that dog, showed that grit, and it's going to be a big night for him. You definitely need a big start from Jack Flaherty because he's likely going to see the mound twice unless the Dodgers sweep, right? I mean, Jack Flaherty goes in Game 1. Game 2 is interesting. Game 2, do you go with Walker Buehler? Do you go with Buehler in Game 2? Because he's shown that, look, I mean, he's only improved. He's trending in the right direction. Yes, the swing and miss isn't quite there. Yes, you're not seeing the Buehler that we saw a couple seasons ago in 2018, 2019, 2020, when you were dominating hitters, overpowering them with velocity, with spin. You're attacking guys up in the zone. But still, he's found a way to give you some length, eat innings, get outs. And in the Dodgers' loss, where he found a way to cover some innings, which led to the bullpen dominance in Game 4. Well, in Game 3, he went 5 innings, gave up 6 runs on 7 hits, gave up the home run to Tatis, and he didn't have any strikeouts. You didn't see a ton of swing and miss, but let's not forget, that was also the terrible defense where the Dodgers look like the bad news Bears out there. Miguel Rojas deciding not to flip the ball to Gavin Lux to try to at least get one out, possibly could have still gotten two. He tries to do it all himself. They get no outs. You had the play with Freddie Freeman and Manny Machado, where Manny Machado creates the baseline that blocks the ball. It hits him on the back. The ball squirts into left field. So truly, you could have possibly gotten 5 innings out of Walker Buehler where he allowed 3 runs. I mean, yes, you want to see more swing and miss, and he did give the double to Peralta and the home run to Fernando Tatis Jr., but you could see him in game 2. Question I have, though, is what if Jack Flaherty pitches well tonight and you take game 1? Could you see Landon Knack in game 2, save Walker Buehler for game 3 because it's on the road in a hostile environment, and then you got game 4 for Yoshinobu Yamamoto? Or could you see it where it's Jack Flaherty in game 1, Walker Buehler in game 2, then it's TBD, who's the best Dodgers pitcher since Sandy Koufax and Clayton Kershaw, right? The combined bullpen game in game 3 on the road, and then you see Landon Knack get some action in that one, and then you go Yoshinobu Yamamoto in game 4, then game 5, Jack Flaherty, game 6, another bullpen-ish type game, and then Walker Buehler, and then game 7, you go bullpen again. So that's how it could play out. Personally, I don't want to tip off my pick too much, but I do think that the Dodgers, if everything goes right for them, you could see them wrap this series up hopefully before it gets to 7 games. But I could see Jack Flaherty in game 1, which you're going to see, of course, tonight, going up against Kodai Senga. Buehler game 2, bullpen game 3, Yoshinobu Yamamoto in game 4, Flaherty game 5, Buehler game 6 potentially, and then bullpen in game 7. But let me know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts on the pitching side of the roster? We got Tortani needs to hit from Colossal Jaguar. Matt Leiter is starting pitcher better than relief pitching in a 7-game series. I'm more worried about the Mets than I was with the Padres. Yeah, we are going to dive deep into the New York Metropolitans. We'll talk all about that in a little bit here. But yeah, the Mets definitely present some problems, and you'll definitely get a full breakdown that in a minute. But yeah, that Mets team is legit. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball for long stretches of this season. You look at where that Mets team was when they played the Dodgers, and they look like a team like, okay, they might be a fringe playoff team, right? Since they faced off the Dodgers early in the season, they've gone 67-40 since, okay? So that Mets team has really, really gotten hot at the right time. You've gotten timely hits from the polar bear, who's not hibernating yet. You've got Francisco Lindor coming up big. You've got a pitching staff that really did a nice job to shut down that Phillies offense. So, yeah, they're definitely a formidable opponent. You can't take them lightly, but this Dodgers team certainly has enough depth. And you see the bats can come alive to carry the season. We got a $4.99 super chat. This will be a rematch of the '88 Dodgers Mets I saw with Kirk Gibson. Dodgers D since 1955. I love that. Give you a little comment of the show. In turtleneck, we trust from Mac Cheese. Carlosi Perez. I still question why Robleski is not on the roster. He has great stuff and is a lefty. I think that you look at, one, there's the youth factor. Robleski's young. That's a tough spot for any young pitcher to go into the postseason for this team. And also, look, Honeywell, we've seen long stretches where Brent Honeywell has been really good this season, and he's more suited to come out of the pen. Look, if you have a lead and you're blowing out that team, he's someone who can cover multiple innings, right? He's someone who can go out there and give you 2-3 innings, whereas yeah, Robleski can do that. There's no doubt about it. But Honeywell offers you that bullpen mix too, where, yeah, you could match him up against the lefty. Like I said, he has those reverse splits. And since he joined the Dodgers, he's really been a different pitcher as well, and one that they like to have different looks. That's the one thing too that they've tried to do with his bullpen. I remember talking to Andrew Friedman about this, and one thing he told me was, look, you can't have 8 guys out of the bullpen that all throw 100 miles per hour. You can't have 8 guys that all throw sliders and changeups. You want different looks coming out of that bullpen. And when you talk about different looks, you got the mullet, you got the party in the back, you got the business in the front, you got the show chains, you got the mock turtleneck. Brent Honeywell is kind of the most interesting dude on the team right now. I know that sounds crazy for me to say, but Brent Honeywell definitely certainly has that. And since he's been with the Dodgers this season, in 34 1/3 innings of work, 18 games, Brent Honeywell has pitched very well. I mean, he really has. I mean, if you look at his numbers overall with the Dodgers, I mean, a 2.62 ERA with LA, a 2.62 ERA in 34 and a thirds innings, a 1.49 ERA plus. So he definitely has the ability to go out and get outs. It's not like he's just a mop-up duty guy. He's someone that can certainly help this team. Now, when you shift over to the position player side, breaking news, designated hitter Shohei Ohtani made the Dodgers postseason NLCS roster. So great to see Shohei Ohtani on that roster. I'm expecting a big series for Ohtani. You got two catchers, Austin Barnes and Will Smith. Will Smith really got things going, and really early on in the series, the promising side was he was seeing the ball better in that he wasn't striking out. And the good thing was that led to him breaking through at the plate. He had the big 2-run home run in Game 4, 432 feet. It was the longest hit home run for any player in the postseason. And yes, those are the only couple of hits. He goes 2 for 16. Hit 125 in the series, but I think that Will Smith is due for a big series. And then you look at the infielders. The starting infield, Freddie Freeman at first, Gavin Lux at second, Max Muncy at third. So Freddie Freeman, that's going to be one of the big storylines to look at in this series. How does that ankle look? Does it limit him? We saw in Game 5, he gets a hit that maybe he stretches out for 2. Maybe at least he tries if he's fully healthy. He rounded first, and then he's already grimacing, already favoring that ankle. And the good thing about this, as far as kind of weathering the storm and having him still be on this roster, is one, a 75-80% Freddie Freeman, even a 60% Freddie Freeman is better than a lot of players in Major League Baseball. It's a better option than most. And then you also consider he's a first baseman. And yes, there's a reason why when it comes to defensive WAR value, you get less defensive WAR by playing first base. You don't have to be as rangy. Lateral mobility isn't as much of a factor for Freddie Freeman as it would if he were an outfielder, if he were playing third, if he were short or second baseman or any other position. So if you're going to find one defensive position outside of designated hitter that you can kind of get through as much as possible with an injury, it could be that with Freddie Freeman at first baseman. I think that, look, I mean, he's someone that they're going to monitor him very, very closely, and they're not going to let him further injure himself. But look, like, we have to be completely honest with you. If this is the regular season, Freddie Freeman is in his second or third week on the injured list and about halfway through his rehab process. So you have to be honest about that. You have to consider it, and then you have to save him from himself potentially. I don't know if you guys saw Max Muncy after the game and talking to reporters, and he was saying that Evan Phillips, when Evan Phillips was in the game in the 6th inning, after Evan Phillips got a rise to ground to first for the second out, they called a mound visit where Will Smith goes out to the mound to talk to Evan Phillips before Tatis Jr. was at the plate. Did they do that for Evan Phillips because he needed to know how they're going to attack Fernando Tatis Jr.? No, they didn't do that. They had that mound visit to give Freddie Freeman a little bit of a breather, to give Freddie Freeman a second there to kind of rejuvenate, to hopefully he's like Wolverine, just kind of rejuvenate a little bit. And that really tells you a lot about this team, how they care about him, and just kind of what he's going through. So I think it's a strong indicator right there. So I thought that was a cool moment to learn about. So other than that, look, come on now. Gavin Lux, he performed well. He had his moments, and he's going to be crucial this series. Gavin Lux, he hit 278. He was 5 for 18. Had the big 2-run home run there in Game 4. Had the big walk that set up the Shohei Ohtani 3-run home run in Game 1. Had a big walk and was able to set up that inning in Game 4 where Ohtani gets the big hit. So when Gavin Lux is on base, that's always a great thing because it usually is an indicator that you're going to get Ohtani at the plate with runners on base so he can have run-producing opportunities. So you got the infielders, Freddie, Lux, and Muncy. Outfielders, 4 outfielders. Kike Hernandez, Mookie Betts, Andy Pajes, and thank you to the baseball gods. Thank you, everyone up there in Blue Heaven, Vin, Jackie, Tommy, everyone up there. Thank you so much. We got Kevin Kiermaier finally on this postseason roster. And yes, the NLDS, it didn't make as much sense, but now with Miguel Rojas out with the abductor injury, this had a big domino effect, right? That led to Tommy Edman going and playing shortstop, which he's done at an above average level, and he's provided a little something at the plate, but also it allows you to play Kike Hernandez every day. And really, let's be honest, they made a mistake early on by not just finding some way to force Kike Hernandez in the lineup, because Keektober is real. Mr. Keektober continues to prove why he's a different guy. I mean, this is really one of the most insane things. I mean, Kike Hernandez, 11 years in the show. Regular season, hitting 238 with a 713 OPS. 238 with a 713 OPS. In the postseason, that 238 batting average jumps up to 277. That OPS that's hovering around 700, 713 for his regular season career goes up to 899. 713 OPS in the regular season, 899 OPS. The guy turns into an MVP candidate in the postseason. If he put up anywhere near his postseason numbers in the regular season, he'd be $200 million richer potentially. Also has those big 14 home runs, none bigger than what we saw in 2017 when he hit the 3 home runs against Chicago in the clincher. How about Game 7, the big home run that he hit against the Braves in the 2020 NLCS? He's been doing this. Okay, Kike Hernandez is, or the big one he hit in Game 5, right? I mean, Kike Hernandez has been doing this. And, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what he does. I mean, there's a reason why they wanted to bring him back, just for moments like we've seen. I mean, I'll never forget everyone's talking about the crotch little bump that he's been doing. That's nothing new, man. That's nothing new. He's been doing that. I mean, who will ever forget Game 7 in the 2020 NLCS? The Dodgers, they were down 3-2 in the 6th inning. Kike Hernandez, he crushed that bomb off of AJ Minter, and that tied things up, and it set up the Cody Bellinger go-ahead home run there in Game 7. He did the crotch high five there. I don't know, what do you call it, a high five or a low 4? I don't even know what you call it. But, I mean, I'm just saying, Kike, our Banana King, has been doing this. This is nothing new. And then you look at Kevin Kiermaier, and what Kevin Kiermaier can provide is a late-game defensive substitution. Now, just take, for example, what we saw in Game 5 against the Padres. You had Andy Pajes in center field late in that one in a 2-0 lead game, right? You're up 2-0, and you have Andy Pajes in center field. You don't want to have that situation present itself again. You want Kevin Kiermaier, anytime there's a close game and you have a lead, he needs to be in center field. Also, if you want to lay down a bunt, he's someone who's going to be a bunting option as well. He provides that. So those are the big questions. Kevin Kiermaier getting in the game, and also Andy Pajes, what do you do with him against a lefty? Tomorrow, they're going to be facing Sean Manaea, a left-handed starter. And Sean Manaea, he's a different pitcher now. He's changed his arm angles. He changed his attack plan. He had a really nice postseason so far. He pitched very well in the NLDS. And the Dodgers, they've owned him historically. But Sean Manaea, a lefty on the mound, do you put a different spin on it? Do you sit Gavin Lux against a lefty, which they were doing for long stretches this season, even when he was figuring things out, even that when he turned it around, he still was putting below average numbers up against southpaws? Do you put Andy Pajes in center, and then you put Kike Hernandez at second, and then you sit Gavin Lux, and then you have him off the bench if you need to use him as a pinch hitting option later in the game against a righty? Because the truth is, I mean, Chris Taylor, Kevin Kiermaier, Austin Barnes, I mean, the pinch hitting options aren't robust, to keep it nicely, from what we're seeing. Look, Kevin Kiermaier, who struggled at the plate He's been better since he's been with the Dodgers. Chris Taylor struggled for long stretches this season. I still want to see him get an opportunity potentially because a lot like Kike, he's someone that has turned it on in the postseason in the past. Austin Barnes is, of course, not someone that you want to lean on in those situations. But if you do put Gavin Lux on the bench and you're facing a host of righties, Gavin Lux gives you an option on the left side that can be a dynamic at bat, that can find a way to not just get a base hit, but we've seen him get a sac fly this series. We've seen him get key walks. So I like that as a potential option. But the big takeaway here is Kike is going to find a way to be in the lineup one way or the other, whether it's in center, whether it's at third, whether it's at first, or that's short. I mean, second, doesn't matter. They're going to keep his bat in the lineup. Doesn't matter what the numbers looking like against the splits. And Andy Pages, the thing about Andy Pages is even though Andy Pages went through some rough times, I mean, he had the hot start and then he cooled off and he kind of heated up again, then he cooled off again, then he came back up with the September call-ups and he performed well down the stretch and he has absolutely earned his spot on the postseason roster. Truth is about Andy Pages, he was 2% above league average offensively. So through the highs and the lows, he ended up just 2% above league average offensively. But the area where he excels is against lefties. Even through the ups and downs, Pages hit 357 with a 917 OPS against lefties with 3 home runs and 7 doubles. Against righties, he hit 213. Lefties, 357. Righties had a 647 OPS, lefties at 917 OPS. So I do like that as a potential option right there, is giving Gavin Lux a bench role if there's a lefty potentially, and then giving Andy Pages more of an opportunity, but you're also keeping Kike Hernandez in the game as well. So that's just going to be the case. But let me know on the position player side, what are your thoughts on this roster? What do you grade this roster? Obviously, you would want more starting pitching depth. You want Tyler Glass now in there, Gavin Stone potentially, right? You want those guys in there. Bobby Miller, you hope that he had worked out better this season. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. But still, I think when you look at the way the bullpen has performed, you lose Alex Vesia, that's a major blow. Outside of Michael Kopech and Evan Phillips, I mean, you could make a case that Alex Vesia is right in the same tier as those guys. In fact, you look at Dave Roberts' trust tree, they're all perched way up on top, and they're shoulder to shoulder right on the top of that trust tree with Evan Phillips and Michael Kopech and Alex Vesia and Ryan Brazier, Daniel Hudson, Blake Trinan. So don't kid yourself. This is a major blow not to have Alex Vesia. They can overcome this. Brent Honeywell has shown the ability to have success against lefties. Anthony Bonda is still on your team that you can use against lefties as well. So I don't think that this is going to be the reason why they lose. But still, it takes a dominant bullpen that you definitely wanted to possibly get 1 or 2 bullpen games out of, and takes one of those big pieces out of. So it's even more important that the offense carries you in this series. You get a bigger series from Shohei Ohtani. Mookie starts the series hot, not just midway through. Freddie Freeman, you get what you can. The middle of the lineup steps up. Max Muncy looked good towards the end. Will Smith looked good towards the end. Teoscar Hernandez has been clutch all season long. And also, you got to get length from your starters as much as possible. You need as many innings and outs from Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler and Yoshinobu Yamamoto when he gets his starts, so this bullpen can have as much in the tank as possible. But a 999 super chat from Freedom. I seriously feeling our offense is going to erupt big time on the Mets pitchers. Too many good hitters back to back. Mets have to face. We have a scary lineup to shut down. The Mets are not a better team. That is from my man Freedom. Give you a fire take for that, my man. Matty Man Dodge. The Mets are not a better team than the Padres. That's just crazy. They are luckier. That's from Matty Man Dodge. We're going to go on the Mets after we break down this roster. I want to get your takes from this. Jesse Martinez, Mets are one bad game away from going cold for the rest of the series. I think we just got to crush their spirits. Yeah, might as well. NY Grimaces. Yeah, the Grimace thing's crazy. The Grimace thing is really, really wild when you look at the Grimace thing and how that has affected their record. I mean, it's just crazy. Of course, Grimace threw out the first pitch for the Mets, and they were struggling up at the time, and all of a sudden they catch fire afterward. It's pretty insane. I mean, at the time, let's see. So when Grimace threw out the first pitch for the Mets on June 12th, they started a 7-game winning streak after that. At the time, the Mets were 28-37. It's insane. They were 28-37 at the time. And then ever since then, they really caught fire after that, and they're in the NLCS, which is really, really wild when you look at it. It's the funny thing is they even have a purple seat. They call it the Grimace effect, and in September, they put a purple Grimace seat. It has an inscription, says Grimace. It's a nice little ode to the McDonald's mascot. And, yeah, I mean, it's just insane. It's pretty insane. I mean, the Grimace effect is crazy. But you know what? We've got Kike Hernandez saying that we don't give a F. So I think the Dodgers aren't going to give a F. So hopefully that will be the case with that one. But, yeah, keep it going, guys. Keep dropping those comments down below. Get those roster grades. What do you guys give this roster? 199 super chat. The New York Mets or New York Fence? Okay, what's up with that from Jesus? Yes, he's been doing that. LFG Kike. High five, low four. Yeah, let's go. Vesia is hurt. That's from Jesse. Matt Leiter says Chris Taylor is the worst player on the planet. He cannot help this team in any way. He would pitch better than he plays any other position. Wow, you're really hating on Chris Taylor there. A $20 super chat. Eddie Chop. Hey, here's the thing. Say what you want about Chris Taylor, but we've also seen the past where he struggled only to come up in a big spot. I mean, he was 8 for his last, I think 67 on the top of my head when he hit that home run against Reyes in the wild card series. I mean, when you look at, it's in the wild card game back in the day. So I mean, it's kind of wild when you think about that. I mean, how big of a slump that he was in. He was mired in a massive slump there, and then he comes through in a big spot against Reyes. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you're depending on Chris Taylor to win you this series, things have gone wrong. Things have definitely gone wrong from that standpoint as well. So, yeah, and the truth of the matter is you have a very heavy lineup before him, and he's not going to be in the lineup starting unless something goes wrong anyway. So, yeah, I wouldn't put too much weight in the Chris Taylor inclusion. He's one of their guys, and they still owe him another year on his contract. They still owe him $16+ million. So that's another factor as well. Manaea hasn't done that against the Dodgers from Matty Man 5. That's true for sure. Let's keep moving. A $5 super chat from Sneaky Panda. Last night I had a dream that I hit a homer and Kike gave me a crotch bump. From there I woke up with... Okay, come on, Sneaky Panda. You're just looking for a bruh for that one. But thank you for the super chat. We got weird NLCS bang-up powerhouse versus a team that won't die in a rough start to the season. I didn't expect to be here. Kelly Oshiro, Taylor had an opportunity in the postseason in the NLDS, and he looked horrible. Yep, Taylor plays better than when I walk on him. We got Guillermo Medina. New York is Brooklyn Dodgers country. Chris Kaler from Jack. So clearly you're not feeling this. Swap out CT3 for KK. But here's the thing. With Rojas not on the roster, you didn't have to make that decision. Now, I was a proponent for Chris Taylor to be left off and have Kevin Kiermaier on. You guys have known that's been my position for a long time now, that I want to see Kevin Kiermaier on this roster for the exact reason that I laid out earlier, is you want to see him as a defensive substitution and potential bunt option off the bench, and hashtag vibes too, because the guy's he's having a good time, shirt off with the Budweiser, going nuts in the clubhouse. A good dude. A $50 from different country. We got the Dodgers in 5. Oh, we got some from Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines. Got the Philippines in the house. I love that. I saw you guys had a newspaper headline with Yamamoto. So I appreciate that. We got a super chat from my man from the Philippines. Dodgers in 5. Dodger fan here from the Philippines. I just want to say, Kamusta. Hey, how about that? I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Manila. I've been to Palawan. Love that place. Philippines is a great country. Great people. Lots of fun. They love the Dodgers there, too. So I'm going to give you a nice little comment of the show for that. Matthew Vasquez says we need to kidnap Grimace. Mets are inspired. That's what worries me. It's In-N-Out versus McDonald's. That's from Jordan Wilson. I like that. I'll take it In-N-Out all day for sure. I'll do it. I like the Golden Arches. We got the Dodger fan here, but Mets putting up a fight. Colossal Jaguar, SD who? Mets have more heart than SD. That's from Moses Malera. We got J-Ro Takeman. They are no joke. The Mets won't roll over for 24 scoreless innings like the Padres did. Yeah, that definitely is a good point right there as far as their offense being relentless. There's no doubt about it. We got even Mets can't believe their own success. A $2 super chat. New York is Brooklyn Dodgers country. Appreciate that. That is from my friend Guillermo Medina. Yeah, you guys went crazy with the super chats in the last show, and I appreciate that. I want to definitely give a shout out to my man Angelo _ Bulena. Angelo, appreciate that. Hooked up with a $100 super chat. So didn't get a chance to read that. And definitely we're going to do a system tonight where I have them sent to me. We're going to spend a lot of time on those super chats because you guys are the best in the game. Paul Vaughn, $2. D-Mac is number one. Thank you, Paul Vaughn. Give you a little fire take for that. Appreciate you. But yeah, we look at the roster, that's pretty much set. I mean, other than that, you got the infield outfielders, Mookie Betts. He's listed as that. He'll just be in right field. Tommy Edman, I think at this point, Tommy Edman is an upgrade to Miguel Rojas because it's not 100% Miguel Rojas, and Tommy Edman can also impact the game on the base pass, right? He can steal a base. He can go first to third. He's a little more impactful on the base pass, and he can make all the plays as well. Then you got Chris Taylor, Kike, and Mookie. So this roster as a whole, this is a roster that can beat the New York Mets. Gary A says no predictions over here. It's anything is possible. 5-2 Dodgers tonight from Ramley Ties. Dodgers in 2 beat them so bad they won't want to play. That's from Andy Pontes. That's a lot right there. 3-1 Dodgers tonight from Drata. McDonald's is from LA. LOL. That's true. That's true. You gotta point that out right there. The first McDonald's. I'm a big McDonald's. Honestly, like historian. Really, I mean, I love me some McDonald's. I mean, the first one is San Bernardino, and yeah, if you see the movie with yeah, this is a great movie. The McDonald's is the best. What's your order at McDonald's, guys? Let me know down below. Love me some golden arches, but you're right. It is a California company, man. I mean, that first one in Downey out Lakewood Boulevard. So shout out to the Golden Arches right there. DN Top Podcast in Vietnam. DMAC Chess looks happy. That's from Pocket. Trude Boy. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, my man. So we in Vietnam. We in Philippines. Germany. This is truly not Dodgers Nation. It's Dodgers Nation. We got Freedom $4.99. I agree, Doug, about Taylor has to come up big. Please, Dodgers fans, don't boo Lindor. He's a class act player and a human. Dodgers in 6. I don't think anyone's going to boo Francisco Lindor. I mean, Francisco Lindor is a great player, man. I mean, that's a really, really interesting stat, Mark A. 1/8 of Americans have worked for McDonald's. That's wild. That's wild, man. That's pretty crazy right there. But let's break this one down, guys. So as far as this Mets series as a whole, really kind of the first thing you have to look into when it comes to this Mets team is the top of that lineup. That is really, when it comes to the Dodgers pitching staff and neutralizing the top of the lineup, that's going to be the biggest key because that is where they generate most of their runs. That's where they're the biggest threat. And if you can find a way to keep them at bay as much as possible, you're going to have a good chance to win this series. The Dodgers versus the top of the lineup is the first major key to a Dodgers win in the NLCS. The top 4 hitters for the Mets, they carry it. And you saw the big hits from Pete Alonso. You saw the grand slam for Lindor in Game 4. And that's what you need to prevent is the fight. You got Lindor, you got Vientos, you got Nimmo, you got Alonso, right? Just in Game 4 alone, they went out there and they got 6 hits. And you got a home run from Francisco Lindor. In fact, if you look at the top 4 hitters for the Mets through the postseason, they have 7 home runs, 13 extra base hits, 23 RBIs. They've combined to hit .311 with a .416 on base and a .573 slugging percentage. The rest of that Mets lineup, outside of their top 4, they've combined to go .186 with a .257 on base and a .233 slug. They've hit just 1 home run. So the top 4, they've combined to hit 7 home runs with Lindor, with Pete Alonso. Outside of that, they've combined to hit just 1 home run. And yeah, truth is, for most teams around the league, for most lineups, the top of your lineup is going to produce the most. I mean, that's the case for the Dodgers as well, right? It's definitely the case, but there is a drop off, and it's pretty significant. So navigating this top of this lineup is going to be massive for this team. You don't want to have Pete Alonso, who's trying to get that big contract, and the polar bear ain't hibernating, right? He's out there doing work. You saw the big home run he hit against the Brewers in the wild card round. I mean, this is a team that they definitely have a lot of talent. And yes, they don't have anyone as hot as Tatis Jr. was, but collectively in that top four, they have the ability to score runs. There's no doubt about that. Now, you also look at the fact that their pitching, as good as their lineup has been, the top four, the reason what they are where they are is because they're pitching. Their pitching did a great job against the Phillies in the NLDS, and they continue to put up numbers, and they continue to have a lot of success. If you look at that Phillies team, they held the Phillies to 2 runs or less in all 3 of those NLDS victories. So every game they won the NLDS, they held that Phillies lineup to 2 runs or less. So tonight, if we see the Dodgers scoring just 2 runs or 3 runs, that's going to be a major problem. And that is going to be the biggest key to this series. Can you get to that pitching staff? I mean, Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea, and I mean, Luis Severino, I mean, they've continued to pitch very, very well. And you look at, someone mentioned it earlier on the chat, I mean, this Dodgers team, they turned it around as well. So the Dodgers pitching, as great as the offense was in Game 4, you won by a final score of 2-0 in Game 5. The first 20 defensive innings for the Dodgers, they gave up 21 earned runs. Down the stretch, though, they were great, and they're on a 24 consecutive inning scoreless streak. How long can they keep that up? In Game 5, the Padres had 1 at-bat the entire game where there was a runner in scoring position, and that ended up in Yamamoto getting Tatis Jr. to ground out into an inning-ending 5-4-3 double play. After that at-bat, the Padres didn't have another runner in scoring position. They didn't even have another base runner for the entire game. I mean, the bullpen was unhittable. The bullpen was get on baseable. Is that a word? I mean, they were absolutely incredible. And you look at the Dodgers relievers, they've gone 16 2/3 scoreless innings in 5 games against the Padres, 19 punch outs to 11 base runners during that whole entire stretch. Now you got Blake Trinan, Evan Phillips, Mike Kopech, Daniel Hudson, but no Alex Vesia, right? You mean you got Edgardo Henriquez, who hasn't had that high leverage moment. We have Anthony Bonda, Ryan Brazier, but still, I mean, collectively they were lights out. And you look at the Mets, I mean, I think the biggest key for the Mets is they got to try to jump on these starters early. I mean, they got to get some runs against Flaherty. You got to get some runs against Walker Buehler because of how well this bullpen has performed. And you look at the Phillies bullpen, I mean, they were bad. I mean, the Phillies bullpen was supposed to be really good. They were bad against this Mets team. So Jose Quintana, I mean, he was really good. I mean, he's on a 16 1/3 innings postseason scoreless streak. His 2 playoff starts, he was fantastic. Jose Quintana, how about this? Quintana hasn't given up a run in a playoff game since the 2017 NLCS when he faced the Dodgers in the playoffs that year. So he's really good. Sean Manaea has historically been bad against the Dodgers, but he's been a different pitcher this year, made some mechanical adjustments. He's alternated his arm angles. You're seeing a different style of pitcher from Sean Manaea, and he pitched very well in the series against the Phillies. I mean, Sean Manaea, get to know the new Sean Manaea. Don't take him lightly. He's shaved his beard. He's looking a little more clean-shaven, and he's really turned things around for his career. And so far, in 2 starts this postseason, 12 innings and a 2.25 ERA against the Phillies in his start. He went 7 innings, gave up just 1 run on 3 hits, had 6 strikeouts and 2 walks, did a nice job in limiting hard contact. So you're seeing a lot of sinker ball pitchers against them with them as well. So that's somebody to consider as in this series is how the Dodgers fail, because Ohtani's been great against sinkers all season long. So I expect a big series from Shohei Ohtani. And then Kodai Senga, Game 1 of the NLDS, he was on 2 months rest. He pitched well, and I think you're going to see probably 50, 60 pitches from him. And then I think you're probably going to see them go to David Peterson in a bulk style role and then go matchup for matchup with their relievers. That's what we're going to try to do in Game 1. You're going to see them go to David Peterson after Kodai Senga and then employ their bullpens. But here's the thing. The Mets, their 1-inning bullpen pieces, I mean, you got Reed Garrett's was really good, right? He's only allowed a couple of base runners in his 3 appearances. But one of the biggest keys of this series, and I think one of the advantages the Dodgers could exploit, is against Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz he looks like he doesn't have a lot left in the tank. He looks like there's not a lot of tread in those tires, and he definitely has struggled with command. I mean, he's walked 5 of the 17 batters that he faced during this postseason. He's thrown 87 pitches so far this postseason. Only 44 of those 87 pitches have been for strikes. In the NLDS, he blew the save in Game 2, and then in Game 4 on 2 days rest, things got dicey. They had a 3-run lead there in the 9th inning, and then he walked their number 6 and number 7 hitters and threw on just 10 pitches. So he could not find the zone at all, and he was able to get out of it, but still, I mean, it's definitely something that is concerning. So that's definitely an area where they're not going to have. I mean, well, they think they have advantage because he's one of the highest paid closers, second behind Josh Hader. But I think there's a world where if the Dodgers are trailing at some point in this game, they have to make a comeback. You feel better against their chances against the Mets than you would against the Padres and their bullpen. But yeah, I mean, you got Minaya, you got Quintana, you got Peterson. I mean, their lefties have really been good. They allowed 1 run in 22 thirds innings. So combined, Peterson, Minaya, and Quintana allowed just 1 run in 22 and 2/3 innings in the NLDS. And they did a great job against Schwarber and Turner and Bohm and Harper and Castellanos and Real Muto. Those hitters, the top part of that Phillies lineup, combined for just 120 against them. And you saw a ton of their whiff rate was almost 50%. They really struggled against breaking balls against them. So the Dodgers, they haven't seen a ton of lefties that throw sinkers this season. I mean, not a lot. I mean, really, the at-bats have been far and few between, but still, Ohtani, especially against righties, did a really nice job. So I like them in that matchup. And then I think the other big question, the big thing about this series is the Padres were a team that they scored their runs early. The Padres went out there, they scored runs early, and then they disappeared. The Mets are a team that has shown the ability to come back late in games. And with Alex Vesia not there, and this bullpen that's already had to carry a lot, that's an area where I looked at one of the biggest deciding factors in this series. The Mets, they lead all of Major League Baseball this season with 44 comeback wins. 44 come from behind wins for the Mets. Dodgers were second with 43. And just look at some of the relievers they got to. I mean, they got to Devin Williams. You saw Pete Alonso. They got to Devin Williams in Game 3 of the Wild Card Series. Phillies, they were down 2 runs in Game 1, and they came back. And then you had Lindor with the go-ahead grand slam in the 6th inning of Game 4. So the Mets are a team that they exchange blows early on, but then they throw their haymakers late. In the later rounds, that's when they do their damage. So I think it's a big contrast compared to that Padres team, where that Padres team, they scored 14 runs in the first 3 innings of the games in the series against the Dodgers. Well, now the Dodgers, you're flipping that, where it's, hey, it's not about early in games, it's about late in games, and a team that's shown the ability to do that as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough series, no doubt about it. It's gonna be a tough series. You got Pete Alonso, you got Francisco Lindor, and I do think the Dodgers do have the plot armor in their favor. We know that baseball needs the Dodgers in the World Series. You know you need to see Shohei Ohtani in the World Series, but I got my prediction, and it's going to be a little bold. I got Dodgers in 5. I think the Dodgers in 5, just because you don't want to have a long series against this Mets team, and this is not taking this Mets team lightly. I could see a 6-game series potentially, but I think that with the weight of the short series against the Padres off their shoulders, the weight of that series off their shoulders, and a Dodgers team that hasn't gotten the best from Shohei Ohtani yet, and Mookie Betts turned it on later in that series, and I think that Mookie is in a much better spot now. He's seeing it better. He's hitting high velocity on both sides of the plate, which is always a really good indicator for Mookie Betts. But let's be honest. One of the big subplots this series is Francisco Lindor, who some believed deserved more MVP consideration over Shohei Ohtani because he plays defense, because he plays shortstop, which is kind of insane because we've had first baseman that would have won that award. We've had pitchers win the award, but I digress on that point. Look, the truth is, if Francisco Lindor outplays Shohei Ohtani this series, it's going to be a talking point. It's going to be a talking point because Lindor, he's had his moments. I mean, Lindor's one of the biggest reasons why they were able to advance. And although Shohei Ohtani certainly contributed, they wouldn't have won game 1 without him. Can make the case they wouldn't have won game 4 without him because he got a big base hit, and he's always providing a lot of pressure. He's applying pressure to pitchers, and they always have to have a lot of stress. And, hey, you can't, a lot of stress to Shohei Ohtani. You're letting other guys take advantage of that. But the truth is, at the end of the day, just like, you argue what you eat, your numbers are what you say you are. And so far in 5 games, Shohei is 4 for 20. He's hitting 200. He's at the Bob Uecker line. By the way, it's not the Mendoza line. It's the Bob Uecker line because Mendoza didn't hit 200. It was Bob Uecker that did. Well, he's at the Bob Uecker line at 200, and he has a 623 OPS with 1 home run. So he has just 1 extra base hit in 20 at-bats. I think that Shohei Ohtani is going to have a big series. I think he'll be the MVP of this series for the Dodgers because, like I said, you got that first postseason series off the bat. You don't have the Yu Darvish subplots, right? You're just going out there. You have the Kodai Senga subplot too, and that's a thing. But still, I think that the fact that you got a little more breathing room and go out there and play your game, and I think this is going to be a big series for Shohei Ohtani. I see multiple home runs. I think that this is the one that he really puts his stamp on. And then you just need the top of your lineup to come through. I mean, Mookie Betts hitting 222, 889 OPS, does have those 2 home runs that were big time. Should have been 3 if it weren't for Jurickson Profar, who basically said that, you see Profar said he didn't give the Dodgers pitchers credit and the da-da-da. Enjoy Cancun, Profar. You're Mr. Irrelevant. But I digress on that. The Dodgers' top of the lineup is going to come through this series. And I think Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, to a degree, they're going to be a big reason why, because it's a longer series. And the fact that they were able to get past the Padres without the best version of Shohei and Betts and Freeman, that only speaks to the depth that they still have in this series, right? Muncie's swinging the bat better. Smith is swinging the bat better. Lux is producing in a variety of different ways. He had a home run. He has the same amount of home runs as Gavin Lux has the same amount of home runs as Shohei Ohtani does, right? And then you have Mr. Keektober, who is incredible. Kike Hernandez, Teoscar Hernandez too, 1,067 OPS. Can we just go to the judge? So yeah, Teoscar, he's 6 for 18 with 1,067 OPS, hitting 333 in this one, which you gotta love. Kike Hernandez also hitting 333 with 1,000 OPS. So I think we should just go to the judge and try to have everyone's name changed to Hernandez. Shohei Hernandez, Mookie Hernandez, Freddie Hernandez. We'll be good. And also get the accent above the A. That's very, very important as well. So like the offense in the series, I think the Dodgers win in 5 games because I think you're going to get a better start from Flaherty. I think game 2, whether it be Buehler or Knack, most likely Walker Buehler, the offense has to show up in a big way. And I just like where this Dodgers team is at because you got past that Padres team. And yes, you're going to face some tough starting pitching. There's no doubt about that. But I just feel like with the less pressure, the fact that you're past this whole, what's the layoff like, right? You're past the layoff thing. The bat should be grooving. The timing's going to be better. And I also think the bullpen, yes, you're minus Alex Vesia, but you don't have to necessarily worry about a top 4 that, look, Fernando Tatis Jr. is a better hitter than anyone the Padres have. Anyone the Mets have, right? It's just the truth, right? So you've kind of navigated that. So you know how to navigate a Pete Alonso and a Francisco Lindor. So the bullpen's hot. The rotation's kind of the biggest question. What do you get from Knack? I think Yamamoto has a lot of confidence after what he did in Game 5. And then Walker Buehler still is a little touch and go. So I think as long as you got to win Game 1, right? And then Game 2, I think you learn from Game 2 of the Padres series and what not to do. So I got the Padres, I got the Dodgers over the Mets in 5. I got Shohei Ohtani being the MVP for the Dodgers this series. But let me know down below in the comment section, what are your biggest keys? What are your takeaways? What are your from the roster? And also, what are your predictions? Not DMAC. We ready to meet the judge. We got NY motto, ain't no party like a Duffy party. What, Roy Estrada? Bring back Shohei De La Cruz. Manuel is, we got Dodgers for life from Isaac Yu. DMAC, Guten Abend from Germany. Guten Tag, hey, how's he doing out there? Aside from Ohtani, is Freeman or Betts going to have a bigger series? I think Betts is going to have a big series. I think it's tough for Freddie because he's limited, but I think Betts, getting in the groove. The fact that it's not just any base hits, hitting high velocity, which we've seen him get dominated in the past, like in the 2021 NLCS, for example, the 2022 NLDS, for example. He's in a much better spot. And also, the truth is, I mean, he had a 2-month layoff with that fractured hand. So he should have a lot left in the tank, and I think that he's going to build on this as well. Also, I want to point out Gavin Stone. Gavin Stone underwent shoulder surgery, and he is going to likely miss the entire 2025 season. So he had shoulder surgery on Wednesday. The team announced it yesterday. It was performed by Dr. Neil Elitrach in Los Angeles. And Dave Roberts said yesterday, he told us he had his shoulder surgery. It was successful, identified a lot of stuff that was going on in the shoulder. I don't see him coming back in 25. So first thing I want to say is that if and when this team wins the World Series, Gavin Stone, you're going to get that World Series ring, and you'll have earned it, because this team might not have won the division. This team might have not finished with the best record without Gavin Stone. And the irony here is that Gavin Stone was the most reliable pitcher for the Dodgers for most of this season. He posted a 3.53 ERA in 140 1/3 innings. He made 25 starts. I mean, he was the most durable. He led the team in starts. He led the team in innings and wins if you're a wins kind of guy, which I'm not. But, well, yeah, I mean, it's tough. You hate to see these guys go down. I mean, I think my biggest takeaway from this, I mean, after he was shut down on September 6th with the inflammation, and then Andrew Friedman told us that he wasn't bouncing back that well, and he didn't feel like he was going to be back, and they moved him to that 60-day injured list in late September. It felt like he was going to be gone. And you look at, you already lost River Ryan. You already have lost last year Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, and hopefully those guys will be back. I mean, Kyle Hurt, he had Tommy John surgery, and maybe he comes back in the final month of the season next year. Emmett Sheehan, he had Tommy John surgery at the hybrid one with the internal brace in late May. That's going to keep him out for probably until the All-Star break of the 2025 season. So big takeaway here is I think that there's a better chance that they do re-sign Jack Flaherty. I think there's a better chance they do bring back a Walker Buehler. We'll see if they are able to get a Roki Sasaki. But right now, you look at the rotation 2025, Shohei Ohtani's back. Tyler Glasnow hopefully will be back and healthy. We'll see how they utilize him. We'll see how they load manage him. Do they let him sit the first couple months of the season, go full-blown Roger Clemens on him? I mean, is he on an innings limit? I mean, they have to find some way to manage Tyler Glasnow. I think Glasnow has said that he's going to look at some mechanical adjustments so he's not putting so much pressure on his elbow. So will they refine his mechanics to allow him to stay on the mound? And then you got Landon Knack, Bobby Miller still in the fold. You have Justin Robleski, Tony Gonsolin will be back, Dustin May will be back. Will Dustin May be in the bullpen? So we'll have a lot of time to do deep dives on these conversations, but I do think that, like we see every offseason, you go out there, Tyler Anderson, you sign him on a 1-year deal. He has success. Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard was Syndergaard. Thor was a thud. He was a bust. They used, they treated him like a couch on the side of the road. It was a free couch, and the Guardians picked him up, and they were done with him. This year, James Paxton, he covered a lot of innings, but he had his ups and downs, and I think you're going to see the Dodgers do something like that, but I think this time it could be with Walker Buehler on a prove-it-to-yourself deal. And Jack Flaherty is going to probably earn more money if he pitches well. I mean, Flaherty could see himself get a 3, 4, 5-year deal potentially, but he's from LA. He's from Burbank. He went to Harvard Westlake. This is his dream to pitch for the Dodgers. If he's a big reason why they win the World Series as their first or second best starting pitcher, you would think that they would have long and hard conversations about bringing him back. So with Gavin Stone out for next season, someone who is going to cover 150 to 175 innings and make it 25 to 30 starts, you also have Kershaw that I think will pick up his club option as well. There you go. So right now, Ohtani for sure is back on the mound. Glasnow, Yamamoto, right? That's the big three right there. Bobby Miller hopefully is in a better spot. Kershaw picks up the club option. You're already up to 5. Landon Knack, and then you got Gonsolin. So you have depth for sure, but we know that it's an exercise in futility just to list those guys off because we know injuries happen. They're inevitable. Pitchers break. But those are my quick thoughts on that. But guys, I'll join you before the game tonight. And join us for the #1 Dodgers post-game show on the internet. This is actually the #1 Dodgers show on the internet, thanks to you guys. And the #1 Dodgers podcast, thanks to you guys. So thank you so much, guys. We got your predictions I want to get into. Who's going deep tonight? I got Ohtani going deep tonight. We got Freeman, his career numbers versus the Mets. Be careful with the power of Grimace. I'm scared of Grimace, man. I'm not eating at McDonald's for this whole month. D-Mac, what's the lineup looking like for game? I don't think they've released the lineup for this one. And we'll break that one down in the pregame show in a couple of hours. Let's see if the Dodgers have released a lineup. Let's see if there's any updates from Dave Roberts as well. So give me just a second here. The Dodgers, no lineup as... Oh, yep, they have just released the lineup 7 minutes ago. So let's crank that up. Thanks for reminding me. And, man, I love this lineup. I love this lineup. It just feels like a winning lineup. Let's take a look at this lineup there, though. Ladies and gentlemen of Dodgers Nation, we got... First of all, I love the graphic, too, with the little, like, party, happy birthday balloons. I'm feeling that. I don't know if you guys feeling that, but I am. So, leading off, of course, Shohei Ohtani at DH. In the 2-hole, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. In the lineup, I don't know if Dave Roberts has said if this is a in the lineup for now type of situation. I personally believe that with the day off, hopefully this is not going to be a game time decision again. If it is, you'll see Max Muncy at first base. But you got Freddie batting third at first, and then behind him in cleanup, Kike Hernandez in left. Then fifth, you have Will Smith behind the dish. Sixth at third base, Max Muncy. Seventh, Kike Hernandez starting in center field. Eighth, Gavin Lux at second. And then ninth, Tommy Edman at short. And on the mound for your Los Angeles Dodgers, the hometown kid, Jack Flaherty. So it's like the lineup we saw late where they moved Kike Hernandez up. But this is a lineup that just depth. You got lefties, righties. You got superstars, all-stars. So that is the lineup for Game 1 against the Mets. Fox, 5:15. I'm so ready. This day feels like it will not speed up. I mean, come on now. This is magic. This is electric. And I got the Dodgers in 5. A little bold there. You guys think it's a little too bold? Give me your predictions, though, down below, guys. Pathetic Mets fans should go make a channel. We got Go Dodgers and God Bless. 6-man rotation to help with the injuries. Don't throw a beer at Lindor, guys, from Eugene. Hopeless. Hope springs eternal. Ramley Ties. This is going to be effing great. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But, yep, guys, a couple more. D-Mac, is this the best year of the playoff baseball since 2017 or 2018? Jesse Martinez? Absolutely. I mean, 2021 was heading towards being a great year because you knocked off that 108-win Giants team. It was the first time they faced off in the postseason like that in the NLCS. But that Braves series was such a letdown because you had all the injuries to starting pitching. Scherzer, dead arm. Urias out of gas. Buehler out of gas. Coming off that 2020 championship. But, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this 2018 was pretty magical as well. I mean, the Brewers series, you win Game 7 on the road. That was pretty amazing. But the World Series, I mean, after the in Game 4, yeah, it definitely wasn't that fun. But 2017 was great. They should have won that year. I mean, that's a World Series team. I still consider that team a world. I'll die on that hill. That was the best team in baseball that year, no doubt about it. Paul Vaughn, go D-back number 1. What up, Paul Vaughn? Ohtani, Betts, and Muncy go deep tonight from Courtney Roper. It's a fire take. I like that. G-Man Evans, 1-0 Dodgers. Juice Narrows, Mets 6, Dodgers 9. Yeah, I see what you did right there. Nice. Give you a little bruh for that, Juice. Keep going those score predictions, guys. Good lineup. Good lineup. We got Dodgers dogs are better than New York Glizzies. I love my Dodger dogs.
Dodger dog of the game.
We're jacked up. Max Fried. Oh, yeah, it's all Max. Okay, Dodgers in 6 from Paul Vaughn. I think the Dodgers in 7 from Jiro Tackman. Mets gonna Met. That's from T.O. over there. Roy Estrada, Dodgers in 5. Book it. Dodgers in 4 from Shane Rochester. Okay, we got a sweep. There we go. I got our first little Met sweep. Dodgers in 6 from Leon. Dodgers in 4 from Monte Carlo. I like this Paul Charles. Jack F. will be back. L.A. loves him. Ghost Fork says, hello, Ohtani bomb. Dodgers in 7 from Adam 818. We got, is it 2-3-2 format? Yes, Cobra Commander is 2-3-2 format for this series. You'll have 2 games in L.A. By the way, tomorrow's a 1 o'clock game. Mets in 5. Okay, we got $2 super chat. D-Mac, can I switch? Hitch a ride to the game. Stro Ticks, let's go Dodgers. Hey, man, for sure. I'll give you a ride. 6-3 Dodgers. Dodgers in 6. Bets tonight. Mets in 5. Bring back juice balls and sticky stuff for the World Series. Kike going deep today from J Cam. All right, guys, but that is going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. Until